Here, okay. I think it's recording now, I think. Does it say that's recording?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, here we go, guys. Let's start this share screen. All right, let's see here. Go up to PowerPoint. So again, this is just a little short trip to Bhutan. By no means am I the expert, and by no means am I the expert at the Rotary Club of Bhutan or any of the projects there. But just a little as introduction, kind of what Murray was saying. I'm a BND also. Does anybody know what a BND is? I know Mark might have heard this story a while back, but I'm a brand new dad too. So just kind of bear with me. I think a lot of this chaos in my life is kind of culminating, and maybe I don't know if I'm cut out to be a dad, but I'm trying my best. And I'm also don't know what it takes to be a Rotarian. I'm trying my best to be a Rotarian too. So hand in hand, I kind of joined Rotary kind of more or less like in the end as a culmination of service. You know, I kind of joined the Army and I thought maybe the Army was a cool place to see the world and travel and do stuff. And then there was this thing called war that happened during the time when I joined, and it maybe wasn't for me. So I kind of got out and I found another really cool organization, probably a better way to travel the world and do a bunch of cool service. And that's what brought me to Rotary. And so the international part of Rotary is what kind of attracted me. And because of these really cool people I met in Hawaii that kind of got me really into Rotary in a complete sense, not only internationally, but also locally. So, but I'm now jumping back to the world, back to the international side, going through where is Bhutan? Does Bhutan, for the longest time, I thought Bhutan neighbored Nepal, but it actually doesn't. If you kind of see here, there's a little strip of India that still blocks Bhutan.
Yeah,
But
Arunachal Pradesh.
yeah, and so anyway, with that said, it is still a sovereign nation. It's actually a kingdom. They have a king, and just like many countries where they have a really solid monarchy or monarchy-like government, they really have to believe in the king, and they do there. And so they're very fortunate because of that. They've done quite an amazing thing with the land they've been blessed with. They have all these national monuments and I'm sorry, not monuments, parks. I should say sanctuaries. I would say like over 90% of the country, again, I don't know the exact number, is wildlife refuge. And they have rules in place that say stuff like it's illegal to chop down a tree unless it's like a life-threatening emergency to start a fire. So there's a lot of rules there that they've incorporated to really protect the Aina and the land. And I would say there's a lot of similarity with how Native Hawaiian practices talk about protecting the environment and how they protect their land. And it's the only country in the world that actually is carbon negative. They actually have hydroelectric power that they sell to India that they don't even use. So they actually have a negative carbon footprint because the local people, a lot of them don't actually use energy, even though they produce a lot of energy for India. They don't really have a lot of cars or they don't burn a lot of stuff. And it's just an interesting kind of time right now for Bhutan. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to help a country that really is trying to help themselves in a very organized, systemic, and systematic manner as well, trying to make sure that they're kind of covering all the bases. But with that said, the two major cities actually in Bhutan actually are Paro and Thimphu. And Paro is the kind of the I would say it's a smaller city, but that's where the airport is at. And Thimphu is there, and it's about I would say roughly about now it's about an hour drive, maybe 45 miles away. It used to be almost a 2 to 3 hour drive because of the road conditions, but the majority of people live in those two cities, and it's a country of less than a few 100,000 people. So it's a very small country, but because of its location, you can see all the mountains around it. It's a really hard place to get to outside of expensive air travel. So that's kind of a limiting step for them, and that also helps preserve their country and also helps preserve their heritage too. So there's a lot of outside of the political side of things. It's just a very beautiful place to travel to. It's definitely a lot different. The air is different. The cultures are different. The architecture is different. and the people are significantly different. And so the draw of it is it's just like a very unique place to travel to. And I think, if we are going to try to pick a place we want to go to, it might as well be a place where the people can, the help we provide them is sustainable. The help we provide them is can go a long way, and also it doesn't also hurt to be in a place that's relatively nice to travel to and be at. So back in 2018, in October, November, Soji and my wife and I traveled to Bhutan, and it was kind of through a friend. You're gonna laugh where I met this friend. I met this friend at the blackjack table at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas, of all places. And that was my first year of residency. So my friends and I had snuck out to Vegas to kind of let loose a little bit and then come back to residency. And so that was 2007, 2008. So 12, 13 years ago. And this friendship just lasted. It was just a very platonic relationship. Just, hey, what are you up to? Facebook kind of led to this relationship, and just started talking. And I got really intrigued about going there, and it finally happened. And so my friend invited us to go out there, and she also had contacts with the Rotary Club. She found out I was a Rotarian. She also was a former member of the Rotary Club of Bloomington, Indiana, where she did her PhD at, and ultimately led to this really cool trip, but also leading to a lot of these people that were really wanting to help their country out. And, outside of maybe 2 or 3 people in this group of Rotarians, this isn't even probably a quarter of their club, but most 90% of the Rotarians there are actually members of the government. So they work in government offices. They're not elected officials or anything like that, but they're government workers. And I think the country itself is kind of divided into maybe 3 or 4 different kind of classes of people, if you want to call them that. People who work for the government, people who are villagers, and people who are just literally just farmers. And so the different types of people, kind of commerce is definitely growing in that area as well. But it's just an interesting place to be. With you almost felt like we're going kind of back in time a little bit, especially just kind of link it back, just kind of how the people kind of travel, how the people kind of live. And talking to them, they aren't really in the hustle and bustle. They're not really eager to really industrialize or modernize. They're really okay with a traditional dress, and they're really okay with their lifestyle. And so the things you ask them, obviously they're the same concerns that every mother or every parent or every person has, is they want good health. And, and obviously how can we preserve life, right? And so it's a different, interesting place, because aside from that, there really isn't a McDonald's there. There isn't a Starbucks there. There are some kind of amenities and luxuries to get, but it's really a pretty basic place to live. And you can even get stamps of yourself made there. Do you guys see that picture there? That's actually me in those stamps. And so it's just a really, I guess I summed it up as more or less a place where if some of your smartest friends and coolest friends got together and made a country and actually worked well, and it works. It's a very cool place to be. And again, they still have problems. Poverty is still there. There's still areas where people aren't getting the resources they need to. So they still have the same basic problems. But I think overall, the government seems to be run pretty well, and there are some issues, obviously, with keeping the country traditional and keeping the country kind of, if you want to call it, locked up away. But there's some benefits of that too. And it's run as a democracy now. There is a parliament, there are elected officials, prime minister is a physician, and they're talking about expanding health services. So that kind of led me to this next topic about, I presented this a couple years ago, and I think right now, we're in the process. I'm finally now figuring out how to do a VTT, I feel like, and I will submit this. It's just, I was waiting for a couple of things with the travel to open up, but I guess that's not necessary. So I'll just submit the VTT without the travel portion attached to it. But this is a buddy of mine, Charlie Mize, who actually, when I went there, I didn't even know who he was. I found this guy was like the superstar, and he's like this guy from trained on the East Coast in the Ivy Leagues and decided to give it all up. He's got Hawaii ties. His grandfather was a famous Vietnam war vet who actually became the commandant of the Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps base. And so he grew up in Kailua, and he created this retrieval program with bringing the Swiss Alps helicopters in to actually transport people who are injured in these rural villages to the main capital, because there's only really one functional medical center in the entire country. And so instead of, without, I guess it was just more cost effective to do this service rather than to build these hospitals in this whole area, which I think is probably phase 4 or phase 15. I don't know whatever phase they're on right now in terms of expanding their health services, but the concept kind of grew to me. And then I randomly met Charlie again. This was just serendipitous at this wilderness medicine conference in Utah. And it wasn't funded by the University of Utah. It just happened to be that the president of the Wilderness Medicine Society is also a faculty and a professor at the University of Utah. And they both gave amazing presentations. And I found out that Scott McIntosh here, the president of the Wilderness Medicine Society, has already kind of established contacts with people in Bhutan, and he wanted to do this wilderness medicine training program there. And he's this world-renowned expert. He's published, he's summited Everest with doing all these, not experiments, I would say, but checking the physiological status on all the Sherpas. He brought up 21 Sherpas up to Mount Everest and actually summited them all, and did a whole physiological kind of analysis on them. So this is just a really cool dude in terms of a human being, but also in terms of medicine. And he's kind of the literally written the book on wilderness medicine and on mountain rescue. So it was just very fitting for us last year to actually start this VTT program up. And he's done all the legwork. He was looking for funding for it, and what better than for us to help provide 3 physicians there to help do a train the trainer program. So it kind of made a lot of sense, and it was kind of a foot in the door for us in many ways. And so without going too much into this presentation too much, if you guys just give me literally 30 seconds, I'm going to plug my laptop in here too. Sorry. Just real briefly. Okay. All right. So, where do we go from here? So we're still waiting for this VTT to happen, and the anticipated actually dates have actually got pushed back. We're hoping in June the country will open up post-COVID, and talking with Scott and his team, it sounds like maybe October, November might be the time where they're actually going to be able to travel there. So it would be interesting for us as Rotarians to go there to kind of help facilitate this kind of project, but that's not the reason for us to go. I would say, some of the main projects that, after talking with Naomi and Arjun, is, just kind of 2 places where I think we could really help out at. It's some of these rural health outposts. I don't know how far we're willing to go out into this, into the wild, but, relatively, somewhere within driving distance that still is in quite need. We're talking about solar panels, water filters. I think that's a very basic project that could actually help improve their, their services they could provide. In addition to that, there's also these orphanages, and you can see here that a lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of parents, the life expectancy still isn't the highest that it could be there. We're talking in the 50s, 60s range for life expectancy. A lot of them are just preventable diseases. A lot of them, unfortunately, are injuries. There are avalanches and landslides in these areas. When the earthquake hit, it did actually result in several deaths that happened as well in Bhutan. So there's these orphans that are kind of groomed to become monks, and they're literally just, it's just kind of a bummer seeing some of these kids. They definitely are going to be great followers of Buddha and also followers of the king. And but it's just kind of, it'd be a really cool project for us to kind of go there, inspire them. Hopefully they don't accuse us of corrupting their minds into a westernized culture. But with that said, just kind of, every kid there just has deserves to be a kid, right? So that's kind of the idea, is how do we help in these areas and help facilitate maybe some training for the teachers, and obviously do all this using local Rotary sponsors, and make sure that we're being culturally appropriate, make sure we're not kind of imposing, making sure that we're kind of doing things very culturally sensitively, right? And like another project that I think Murray has actually worked on, several Rotarians in Hawaii have worked on, is this prosthetic arm, this LN4 prosthetic arm. So I didn't realize this, but there are a lot of like not only injuries, but also just congenital deformations of people being born, whether it's mineral deficiencies or what, but there's actually, unfortunately, people with amputees that could use the support and help. And outside of providing something high tech, this, Ellen Meadows Prosthetic Hand Foundation just delivers these hands for free, to anyone who wants to carry them to areas, right? So it's a free service that we as Rotarians could actually go, and we could actually even put up a little clinic and fit a bunch of amputees. And I think that would be something worthwhile, something meaningful that we could do in Bhutan. And we would actually be the first group to actually formally bring these in. I brought in about 5 or so during my trip. And, I think if we actually do a formal project, I think it might be something worth doing. And you'll actually hear in, I think there's gonna be an article next month or in a couple months. One of the champions of health, actually, his project in India was to fit these prosthetic hands, actually. So it's definitely something that Rotary is growing with. So it might be something fun for us to work on. And like the other part of this project that it may not involve a lot of Rotarians per se, but something that we're kind of working on is Aloha Medical Mission. And Aloha Medical Mission actually, for the longest time has been trying to actually do a project in Bhutan. And Soji and I were actually able to do quite a bit of like a reconnaissance or kind of surveying of some of these hospitals in Bhutan. And the one in Paro Hospital, the second largest city there, has all the surgical kind of capabilities, but they just don't have the surgeons or the trained surgeons to actually perform surgery. So one way for us to kind of help would be to, see if Aloha Medical Mission would be willing to come with us and potentially, eventually, maybe even create a VTT where we could send a team of surgeons to help expand their health services to some of these areas. Because, we hearing stories of women in labor or hearing stories of people injured who even from Paro to Thimphu, it's still, could be outside of that golden hour of trauma. So, sorry, my son just came home. But with that said, I think it's something that we could talk about. They would actually have a separate kind of group, but just kind of work along with us. And I think it would be a good opportunity for us to kind of work with Aloha Medical Mission, and a lot of Rotarians in Hawaii have already worked with them, or some of our Rotarians actually are members of Aloha Medical Mission, whether it's dental or surgical or local here or international. So with that said, this guy is perfect segue. This guy is actually named Kinley because we went to this fertility temple in Bhutan, and I'll show you pictures another time of that temple. But a Buddhist monk actually named him and said that we would have a baby boy in August, and his name would be Kinley. So that was October. November, we conceived somehow on the trip, and then over the course of 9 months, it was August when he was born. So it was definitely meant to be for us to go. So it's definitely a personal trip for me to go back to Bhutan. And I just talked with Sojin that we may actually be bringing Kinley on the trip with us this time around. So it'd be really cool for him to go with us. And I just need to get some verbal commitments from Rotarians to help us watch him. But outside of that, just kind of closing real quick. I know I'm pushing the 30-minute mark. Between the two areas, like I said, it's just it's a country where we'll fly into Paro. Thimphu is nearby, and again, I want to work closely with the Rotarians there to build this relationship. The fortunate part about it is that the one Rotary Club in Thimphu is actually in the same district as DG Rajiv, who's actually the district governor for Nepal, and District 3292, and he's actually planning a trip there next month. So through Arjun, we're actually working to help build that relationship further on his level. And I think getting the district governor involved, getting the Rotary Club of Thimphu involved, I think that'll be the best way for us to develop some of these projects that we have and turn these ideas into actual fruition. So, just with that said, I just want to open up to any questions and kind of just let you know that it's definitely a family-oriented culture. It's definitely a place where we feel at home. Obviously, there's definitely opportunities for homestays, for travel. There's 5-star hotels available as well if people are interested. So there's a broad range of activities. The favorite dish there is called emadachi, and emadachi is actually literally just chilies and cheese. So it's just this. It's a different type of goat cheese per se, and they also have this thing here where you can see with my scroller is this little cup of. It looks like poi, but it's not. It's actually called butter tea, and it's definitely an acquired taste, put it that way. But so but outside of that, the food is definitely unique. People would ask, is it like Nepalese food? Is it like Indian food? No, I think it's its own kind of style. And as we kind of move more towards the trip, I'll definitely kind of touch base with it. Maybe even invite some Rotarians from Thimphu to actually give us some cultural kind of talk about it as well. But I'll kind of stop the presentation for now.
James, I just want to interject. You can go on for more than 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, plenty. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Kind of. Let me see what's going on here. Let me stop share and just see if off the bat if anybody had any questions or anything else.
James, if I could make a comment.
Yeah,
First of all, a huge mahalo for this presentation. It's really informative. One of the things that interests me about this, I've been to many of the countries in that region, never to Bhutan. So I'm a complete new guy. You and Murray and Arjun know much more about it than I do, but
I've never been there.
With another country I've spent a little time in, and that is Brunei. Brunei is much wealthier and at a different altitude, but they too have committed themselves to the importance of their natural resources, natural parks and everything. I think Bhutan is fascinating. I've been studying it for a couple of years and thinking about going there anyway, just for a long visit, chasing all of the wildlife that I enjoy to photograph it. I think a country that says that happiness is mandatory has something going for it. So if we go there as Rotarians, you've been there, you've started building bridges, you've got to focus on some missions. But as we as Americans, if we look at what we've done in the world, we, along with China and India and Russia and Brazil, have created a lot of the environmental issues in the world. So when we look at a country that has a negative carbon footprint, when we go to see them, we need to do our homework and figure out, obviously, where we can help without trying to turn them into a little version of America with throwaway food and McDonald's everywhere. That sensitivity. So I guess what I'm saying is I would very much appreciate any cultural interface, any cultural training we can do, so we go there with all the right sensitivity. And I'm good to 14,000 feet, and with a little Diamox, I'll be good to 18. So if you need me up there in the mountain bit, I'd do that too. Thank you.
And we'll have our wilderness medicine experts there to help us out if any of us have altitude issues too.
I've been through multi-military survival schools.
Wow.
In various places, so happy to do that.
Awesome.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thanks, Dick. I'm sorry. I don't. I see 18082. I'm sorry. I got to do introduction.
Karen. Yes. Aloha. My name is Karen.
Oh.
I'm in the Lahaina Rotary Club, Lahaina Sunset Rotary Club, and looking forward to. We're just talking about altitude. So, what is the altitude of Thimphu?
I'm Googling it right now.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
No. It's something that you're right.
I would all like to know that.
You know what? I should know, and I'm actually in the process of Googling it. I always get, honestly, yeah, that's what it's 7,656 feet. So I was guessing around 2,000. For some reason, the number 2,000 kind of rang a bell. It's about 2,200 meters. But I always get my meters and feet always, like, someone asked me this, so I always want to look it up.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so it's actually not the high altitude that you would think, but it's definitely at a place where if you're not used to it, definitely don't want you out exploring. There, that hike, that where that you see that Takshang, which is the tiger's nest. You know, that
Hmm.
monastery that's carved into the mountain.
Yes.
Usually what they recommend is, you know, it is a pretty, it's not a strenuous hike, but it's definitely uphill and takes some time, and we could rent donkeys and that kind of stuff too. So it's definitely a thing that you want to acclimate and then head up, even if it's not at that danger zone altitude that we worry about. Yeah, we'll definitely create some opportunities for some of these visits.
If you're on Maui and if you're comfortable going up to Hosmer Grove and walking around, you'll be good at the base altitude there. It's not that much different.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what did you say? Haleakala? you mean?
I said if you go up, since you're on Maui, if you go up Haleakala
Yes,
National
okay, no,
Park,
I just missed
just
the
past the
Haleakala.
entry, and you stop at Hosmer Grove there, you're
Oh, yes,
almost at
very
that
familiar
same
with it.
elevation. Not nearly as high as when you get up to the visitor center.
Thank you, yes.
Denver, Colorado is about 6,000, just shy of 6,000.
Great.
Are there any more questions for James? No. I've learned a lot because I've never been to Bhutan, James.
Yeah.
And so this has been very interesting for me. If
James,
nobody has, go
Is
ahead.
there a GoFundMe for your computer?
It's called the Sojin Lee MacBook. I think I'm gonna actually probably, unfortunately,
There you go.
adopt her computer in a little bit.
That's okay, James. My wife has the newer computer too.
You know what? Let me just try to show you this this landing into Paro. I think of all of
All
us,
right.
Dick would probably appreciate the most. I'm gonna preface it with, it is I think every 10-second what's it called, time lapse. So it's a lot faster than you would think, but it's only a few about 20-30 seconds. Let me try to load it up. Give me a second. All right, I hope this works. Let me see. You guys see this okay so far?
Got it.
All right, let's try this.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have the cockpit view that that Dick's probably used to, but so that's the city.
It's probably even scarier for the pilots.
So it's a 180 more or less that we do to land, and it's not as bad as you think, but it looks really bumpy because of the time lapse, I think. But if you can look in the area, it's a really small town. It reminds me of some of these smaller towns in Washington State, kind of in the foothills.
Yeah.
And it's impressive as to you know, the resources they have and how small the population they have. So you know, they're definitely building, expanding, and their new king is actually the cool thing about it is that their king actually went to elementary school with my friend Kendom, and their elementary school teacher for several years was actually her mom. So I'll probably introduce you to Miss Gai or Gege, I think is how she pronounces it, and she's like this wonderful person, and she was like our host for most of the trip, and she said that she'd be happy to be the point of contact for us in Paro when we're there. So again, it's just a cool place, and that young king actually has he was trained on the East Coast. I want to say at Amherst in over in Massachusetts, but I'm not sure exactly when. But he definitely went to college in Mass, and then ended up going back and ended up inheriting this giant country, or this relatively small country, but giant for someone his age, right? So he's definitely got his hands full. But definitely, I think Rotary would be a good way for us to help. Again, just like Dick mentioned, in ways that we could still align with their beliefs and with how they want to, preserve their country and their heritage. And I think what better timing than adding that seventh, area of focus for us, being, helping the environment, right? So I think, it might be also a good opportunity for us to look for environmental projects. again,
Good.
and just kind of find ways for us to help. And I think right now their Rotary Club is definitely working hard with trying to provide medical equipment. Luckily, they're still fortunately not having a big surge in COVID. They actually have gotten vaccines, so they actually their government and their king actually went out to actually purchase a lot of vaccines themselves instead of relying on kind of donations to their country. So they actually are vaccinating. So it's just really cool to see on Facebook some of my friends that are there getting vaccinated already, and looks like it's hopefully be ready for us in October, November when we get there.
Great.
Okay, this concludes Dr. James's presentation on Bhutan. And those of you who are on the international service team, if you can stay here, and we need to, I have a few things on our agenda. It has mostly to do with district conference. So if you can stay, and then the rest of you, if you want to, you can leave. Thank you for attending. This is very interesting.
Before everyone leaves, could I have the screen for a minute?
Of course. I think you should be a co-host already, so you could share screen.
Yeah, I think so. I hope. Here we go. So I just want to let you know that to save the date, we're having a Global Peace Forum in Honolulu in Hawaii on May 1st, all morning and a little bit of the afternoon. And so what I've been trying to develop a program, and I kind of decided that I was going to go for the big names and the big stars. And so, I kind of, in Japan, we say I jumped off the terrace of Kiyomizu Temple, which is a high platform that falls into a big gulch about 300 feet deep. So anyway, I contacted these people, and I've been going back and forth. I've been going through their secretaries, their media people, et cetera, but I finally got them to agree. So the morning, these are basically keynote speakers. And the first one is Reem Greenheim, who is the executive director of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. And then between the stars from Rotary, we have some local stars. Gretchen Alter is our former Peace Fellow, who is now at the East-West Center. And she is one of the stars at the East-West Center. She's developing their flagship program in leadership for women. She's developing an Asia-Pacific leadership program. So Gretchen will be talking about her experience as a Peace Fellow, but also about what's going on at the East-West Center now. And then Scott Nishimoto is the executive director of Seeds for Peace, which is the local NGO that Scott's mission is to raise peace-building leaders. So he'll have a lot to say, and Scott's going to do some interactive things to engage Rotarians and Rotaractors. And so his session will be very much an interactive session, try to get the energy flowing again. And then Peter Kyle is like the ultimate Rotary peace builder. He has been involved in everything. He helped get the Peace Fellows program going. He's worked very hard to establish peace centers in Tokyo and most lately in Uganda. There's a new center there. And then the last kind of farewell greetings from Al Jubis, who was the founder of the Rotary Action Group for Peace. And he'll sort of round things out, talk about the future of the RAG, where we're going, where Rotary is going, and some of the new Rotary Action Groups. And so that's it. That's the program. And I'll be putting this out on social media pretty soon. It costs $50 a month to add the large meeting app to Zoom. So I'm waiting until April 3rd to to get a registration link, but as soon as I have that, I'll put it up on the District 5000 website and get it out on social media. I think we're going to have people from all over the world. Zoom is amazing, and our district, Hawaii, we are very popular in the Rotary world, particularly with our partners in California who volunteered to help with our international convention in Honolulu. So I think there will be a lot of people there, and it'll be a really exciting event. So that's coming up. So save the date.
And Mark, can you contact Steve Yoshida about this? Because I think he would
Oh
be
yeah,
really
I definitely
interested.
will. And I'll be in touch with We Rotary Club because they are the movers and shakers.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll be in touch with Steve. Not to worry.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually
Great job.
told Al's latest thing is anti-nuclear, and I have it from the highest echelons of Rotary that we're not supposed to talk about that too much, because Rotary has not taken an official position on it. So, but Al is one of Al's passions. Al is actually an honorary member of the Rotary Club of Kona Sunrise, so he does have a Hawaii connection. And but Al's latest passion is anti-nuclear, and I basically, in order to get him to come, I said, talk about whatever you want to. So he may talk about that, and don't be surprised because it's a big issue in the RAG and in Rotary in general. So yeah, so I'll get out of the screen and we can go back to the meeting.
Okay. For our meeting, I'll get right to the point because we only have about 15 minutes. We're going to have a virtual district conference May 14 through 16, and International Service can have a virtual picture board and or a PowerPoint in the House of Friendship. So I have made an updated PowerPoint for the House of Friendship, and Benson is going to help me this coming Monday with a voiceover. So that part is almost done. Now, as far as Arjun is concerned, he will make a 5-minute video that promotes the district-sponsored global grant in improving basic education in Nepal. And Arjun, are you on the Zoom, Arjun?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will make it. Yes, thank you.
Okay, and that will be done by 10 April. Is that correct?
That's correct for sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then we have one more thing. There'll be a breakout session, and it's about from 1:30 to 2:35 p.m. on May 15, and we can do whatever we want during that breakout session. It's kind of a freewheeling presentation, so it's unscripted. What I would like is for anybody that wants to, that has done a global grant or has done one in the past, or any kind of international service project, if you can join me for this breakout session. And I think, Alan, you said you wanted to do one on, you wanted to be there and at the breakout session and say something about peace and conflict resolution. Is that correct?
No, that's not what I was thinking. I mean, I was thinking that I could contribute on the Peace Corps side and also fellowships, scholarships, but I wasn't really thinking about peace and conflict resolution. No.
Okay, Peace Corps then, and the scholarships. All right, so you can join us during the breakout session for those topics.
Lori, I'll be glad to talk about peace and conflict resolution.
Okay.
I'm working, my global grant in India is basically in that area of focus. So
All right.
I'll talk about that as well.
Okay, peace and conflict resolution. All right, great. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I thought we can also talk about past global grants that were done in the past, a year ago or 2 years ago. And I wonder, John Osu's would you want to say something about your
Of course. I'd be
because
very happy.
because I think you're the only person so far that has done a global grant in South America, which is Bolivia. I may be wrong, but I think you're the South American expert for our district.
Doesn't take much to be an expert, I guess. A one-time shot. No, I'd love to talk to you. Yeah. I'd
Oh,
love to.
great. Okay, I'll put you down for the project that you did, the school project in Bolivia.
Yeah. What do you want, Murray? Just a summary, or are we going to get together and talk about?
No, well, we'll have another meeting because and then we'll talk. It'd be freewheeling. There's nothing really specific. It just be like a question and answer session to whoever wants to join us in the breakout session.
Okay.
But nothing, really formal. So
Okay.
I'll put you down for the project you did in Bolivia. The reason I really like that project is because you overcame a lot of problems in that country to not only the COVID, which everybody had to deal with, but also, 3 coup attempts in 1 month of November of last year. So that's kind of an unusual situation to do a global grant in. All right. I was hoping Dr. Paul would be here. He gave a white paper presentation. Maybe those of you who are in the same club with Paul, and I'll contact Paul too, if he wants to do like a synopsis of that white paper on his proposed project in Palau and the Marianas. Okay. Let's see, who else can I tap here? James, did you want to be part of or I don't know what your work schedule is.
I could, like the one I would probably talk about would be Nepal, my Nepal water project, but I think I would defer to Arjun, who's definitely expanded significantly on that topic in Nepal.
Let me ask Arjun. Arjun, did you want to be part of this breakout session and talk about Nepal?
Sure, I can. You were talking about the district conference, right?
Yeah, that's a district conference. The breakout session is 15 May, 1:30 to 2:35 p.m.
1:30. Okay. What day is that?
It's on 15 May.
No, I mean is it weekend or weekdays? Sorry,
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great. All right, I think I pretty much got all the speakers that want to speak for that breakout session. It should be a really good one. Naomi, did you want to say something?
Is 1 hour enough, or do you want longer?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll have a meeting with just my team about this, and I can let you know if we need more than an hour.
Okay.
So to summarize it, there'll be Mark will be speaking, presenting peace and conflict resolution. Alan will be presenting Peace Corps and their scholarships. John will be presenting his project from last year in Bolivia. And then maybe Dr. Paul would want to present a synopsis of his white paper that he already gave at a presentation. And yes, Mark.
Yeah, we should have Paul do his Oceania grant, because I think that's going to come together and it's really exciting. And that's something for next year, so it'll get people fired up, for what's.
Well,
with that and the trip, I mean, international services is really taking off.
Right. Yeah, so since James and Arjun are in the same club with Dr. Paul, we can all twist his arm. All right.
We'll just have Arjun order it, since Arjun's going to be president next year. So you've got a past president and a current president. Just lean on Paul and say, look, you got to be there. That's all it is.
Well, here's the other thing.
We can't push too hard because we're trying to make him a president too. So I guess, but that's the incentive, I guess. You can order people around for
Push
president.
him gently, push him gently.
Well, here's the other thing. Dr. James, as you already know, is going to be the next district international chair. So that there's, you know, there are two people twisting arms there. All right, great. I I think we just about got our stuff, the international service stuff, planned out fairly well for the district conference.
Marie,
Mhm.
I've asked Arjun to do the Chunder water project actually for
Oh.
the district conference too.
Oh, you
Because
did?
yeah,
Okay.
and then for the Nepal one, I'm not sure if that's going to be a video or just a PowerPoint. So that's up to him how you
Yeah.
guys want to do that.
Okay, well, it'll be up to Arjun.
Yeah.
Arjun, if you want to do a video for that district sponsored global grant, or if you want to do a PowerPoint. But no more.
I can do whatever is more appropriate.
Uh-huh.
I was waiting for a small clip from the mayor, and I just received it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So
What we
whatever
need
is
is,
more appropriate.
oh, go ahead.
But that's for the Chunder, right? For the mayor's video.
Yeah, yes, actually, he's mayor for the both projects, so it's the same municipality.
So are we gonna have a table, are we gonna have a house of friendship?
Yes, the House of Friendship is going to have the PowerPoint that I've already put together on a permanent loop. It will keep running. It will be on a tile in the House of Friendship, along with the other presentations. And the only thing I need to do is do a voiceover, and Benson is going to help me with that on Monday. So that should be done pretty soon.
It doesn't need to loop because
Uh-huh.
it's a link that people just can click on.
Okay.
And you can
Alright.
put if everybody wants to do their own PowerPoint, they can add it too onto your page.
Uh-huh.
And Mark, if you want to have your own for peace, you can have that too.
Yeah, I'll have to figure it. So as far as timing is concerned, like when we're doing the breakout session, will the House of Friendship still be open?
The House of Friendship is going to be open for 2 months, from like April 15th through June 15th.
Oh, great. No pressure.
Okay, good then. Maybe we'll have more than one PowerPoint for the House of Friendship.
Yeah,
But there will be at least one for sure, the one that I just made.
Yeah, and all of the people who have their global projects can put their link on for their video too. You can
Yeah.
put whatever you want.
And so Arjun, I think that for your video or PowerPoint, 5 minutes would be enough. We
Okay.
agreed. Yeah.
So should I do both separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, because between you and me, we were. I asked you to do the one for the district-sponsored global grant, the educational project, and I guess the one with and the one with Naomi is one about the Chunder water project, right?
Yeah. I understand the purpose. It's a different purpose.
Okay.
The Chunder one, Naomi, do you want me to do it now or wait next couple of weeks so it will be done and I can have a video clip or picture of like actually water running on the village?
Yeah, do it when it's running, because you
Okay.
got time. You still got time.
Okay, then I'll do maybe by the end of the month.
Okay.
For Murray, I'll do it sooner. Okay.
Oh, Arjun, is when I said 10 April, is that too soon for you? I know you're really busy.
No, I can do it. So for yours, I can do it. Yeah, I can do both. It doesn't. I was waiting for a clip from the mayor, so I have it. Okay.
All right.
So for example, Naomi's Chunder it's sort of like showcase. You know, we want to show the complete. It's better. And for your case, it's more about trip information, right? Or the introduction of the project.
Yeah, you mean the district grant one?
Yeah.
District sponsored one? Yeah, it's like an introduction.
Yes.
Get people fired up to go there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since it's a hands-on project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. great. I feel really secure now that we just about got it all wrapped up for the district conference. Did anybody want to say anything more? I know that some of you have your club meeting starting pretty soon. So if nobody has anything, and Dick, I will get back to you after I talk to Captain. His name is Bill Austin of the ship Machias. I'll be talking to him tomorrow at noontime, and about the sailing to Palmyra.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, how
Thank you.
long it takes.
Thanks for the
I'm sure
chance.
I'm sure he wants some remuneration also. So I'll ask him how much he wants. And
Thanks much, and thanks for
Yeah,
the
I think
opportunity.
you're talking $10,000.
all right.
I feel like we could buy our own sailboat for that price.
Yeah. Well,
It'd be a really
probably-
small one.
Maybe not quite.
Well,
I don't.
$10,000 for 20 people. That's a $200,000 sailboat we could buy, right?
No, actually, he never. I don't know what he's gonna say. How much
know,
he
I'm
wants.
joking.
Yeah, I do know the one for the Nature Conservancy. They wanted $18,000 to $25,000 a person to stay there for 6 days. And that's way too much. And then we had to also plant trees there too while we're there. But that lady of the Nature Conservancy, the next meeting, she will be giving a presentation on Palmyra Island, Dick. So you may want to, and I asked her to focus on the environment. They're really doing a good job regenerating the environment in Palmyra. A lot of fish are coming back. Coral is growing, and it's a lot better place than it used to be.
Good. All right.
All right.
Can I
There should
add
be-
information here? We were talking about peace related stuff earlier. So UH Rotary and University of Hawaii Peace Corps, they are doing joint event, and our Alan is going to be guest speaker. So I will send invitation.
Okay. I have one more question. My our Rotarians in Australia, they would like to have this recording. How do I do that? Do I just take this Zoom
James will
recording
have-
and
I think
forward it?
I'll send you the link, Murray.
Okay, I'll forward it to their email addresses. Is that it? Okay, that's easy.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, thank you. And have a nice evening.
Well,
Thank you.
Bye, Marie.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.